Wow. Okay. I'm trying out. I probably have a lot of makeup smudged on my face and it's really dark. So let me see if I can adjust the lighting a little bit. Maybe if I move this here. Do I have makeup? I can't even tell. Why is the light so dark? Okay. I apologize that it's weird. Why is it? This seems like extra dark because it's really not that dark in here. But okay, so sorry for the awkward intro, but this video is so much about authenticity and figuring things out. So it actually feels kind of cool to start the video this way because sometimes I'm literally figuring things out when I do these videos. And I have been aiming to get back to my past schedule of Monday recordings for this channel, and I probably will stick to that. I feel like this coming Monday, I probably won't be live because I'm going to visit a friend at her house for the first time, and I'm really, really excited to go, and she lives kind of far away from me. So maybe this video will just make up for it. And hi to Artist Infantry. Yes, it is one of those nights where I wanted to go to bed hours ago, and I don't even know what time it is. I did something kind of cool where I took the clock off my Mac menu bar, I think is what it's called. So it's really hard for me to see what time it is unless I have my phone nearby. So I'll check right now. Actually, but let me guess. Like, this is literally, maybe it's around 10 p.m. Pacific. I have no clue. And I kind of like not knowing what time it is. This is something that I've been doing a lot recently, is when I can, or when I schedule my day in the ideal sense, I try not to look at the time for as long as possible after I wake up. So on an ideal, and I also keep meaning, the lighting's throwing me off, but I feel like I have like smudges of makeup because I've been lying in bed for hours recovering from a intense half of my day. So anyways, I like to wake up in the mornings and just like live life without being on my phone and my computer. And I'll just like, on my favorite days, I wake up and I'll meditate right away. So I like to get up and open up the curtains and bring in some light to help me wake up, have some water, use the bathroom, and then get back in bed and get into my meditation zone. And I found if I'm awake in doing that little routine for like 5 or 10 minutes, then I can actually stay awake during that morning meditation. In the past, I would try to like meditate as soon as I woke up and I'd just fall asleep. But one of the things that I really enjoy about that is I've been working hard to schedule my days to begin no earlier than 12 p.m. Pacific, because I generally like to wake up between 10 a.m. and 11 a.m. because I really enjoy staying up late. So 12 p.m. actually feels pretty early, and that means I generally need to set an alarm. So recently I've been starting my days around 12 because I've been working with a part-time assistant, which is something I'll talk about today. And our usual time frame together is like 12 to 3 or 12 to 4. And so anyways, on my days where I really try not to schedule things till later in the day, I feel like I can just wake up and not know what time it is. And today's one of those days where I'll tell you about how my day started because it ties into why I felt inspired to do this video right now. I got up really early and I went to bed late. I typically enjoy falling asleep between 2 a.m. and 3 a.m. I have experimented so much, and I always come back to that time. There's still part of me that's like, I really want to try to like get onto a quote unquote better schedule and just try to see if I can switch my brain and my body to go to bed earlier and wake up earlier, just see how that feels. And I've really only accomplished that for maybe a few weeks at a time. And then I just start to swing back to the 2 a.m., 3 a.m. bedtime. I just enjoy staying up till that time. And I don't mind waking up at 10 or 11. And I've talked about this a lot, but in summary, growing up, I felt really guilty for that because I feel like most of my life, if I was told as a young kid that I could go to bed whenever I felt like it and wake up whenever I felt like it, I'd be like, really? Okay. But, many of us go to school. So I had to wake up at whatever time. I have no clue. Like, feels like an eternity ago. But maybe 8 a.m. I don't even know. When did school start? 9 a.m.? It's so weird. It'd be actually interesting to see because I know my high school started like an hour early than elementary school in my small town. So anyways, I just remember I hated waking up early. So the weekends always felt great, but there's all this research that shows that it's really helpful for your body to wake up at the same time every day. So it's always kind of crazy for most of my life, school and then working the typical 9 to 5 jobs, I was forcing myself to live the schedule that I really didn't like. And the weekends were like, oh, finally, I can just live the way I want. But my body would get all out of whack. And I could go on and on about sleep. And I've talked about that a bunch. That's not the point of this video. Although, okay, so my guess is that I would maybe say 10:20 p.m. But I feel like it's 11:09. Okay. It's so interesting when you don't look at a clock for a while, how your idea of time shifts so much. So I started my day. I think my alarm went off around 8 a.m., which is super early for me, given what I just explained. And I had to pull myself out of bed between 8:15 and 8:30 to take a shower and to get ready. Oh, actually, to send some emails first and get all ready for this event that I hosted today, which I may talk about today in this video. I feel inspired to talk about it, but I feel like I'm starting to go down a different path. So who knows where this video will lead me. It's funny. Okay, I'm a little all over the place, but I'll try to get back off these tangents. But a quick little tangent is that as part of this event that I hosted today, somebody was asking me a lot about live video because the great majority of my videos now are live. It's actually very rare for me to do a non-live video. I love live video so much. And I feel so free doing live videos. And it's funny how live video is relatively new. I feel like I've been doing it for forever because I started doing live videos on the main Eco Vegan Gal channel. Maybe 2013 is when I started, maybe 2014. So it's been about 4 years. And live video started to build momentum maybe in 2015-ish. I don't know, somewhere in that range, when Periscope came up and then Facebook Live, I think that was in 2016, almost positive. And then YouTube Live, which I'm on right now. And just I was super drawn to doing live videos because one of the things, there are a bunch of people watching live right now. Some of you are watching the recording. Those of you watching live, we can chat real time. So Artist Infantry is typing in the chat. And some of you might not feel like chatting and you just want to watch. That's totally cool. But I love that I can open up the conversation and respond to you in real time. And that I much prefer, excuse me, over just responding to comments. So back to my little tangent was during this event that I hosted today, I was talking to someone, she was asking me a lot of questions, and she's someone that's been doing video for a long time too. And she kind of strikes me as someone that wouldn't have these questions. And this is actually one of the big things I want to talk about in this video is how not to make a lot of our assumptions about where people are at in their professional lives are often really inaccurate. And I'm fascinated by that. So remind me, maybe Artist Infantry, since I know you're probably still watching and commenting, remind me to get back to that subject line if I get way off course. But I want to finish this tangent, which was that she was asking about how I do live videos. And she asked me if I rehearse them or I have a outline or something. And sometimes I do. I generally do for my Facebook Lives and for my live videos on YouTube, on my main Eco Vegan Gal YouTube channel. But for this channel, I'll just like get this heart-centered feeling of inspiration. I'm like, I just got to go live and I want to share it and just let it flow. And I feel so grateful for those of you that watch these videos, that tune in live. And by the way, you can turn on a notification bell so that when I spontaneously go live, like I did just now, you'll actually get an email or you'll get a notification in YouTube. And that way you can jump right in and have the conversation with me if you like that. And you can always watch these recorded as well. So yeah, for me, videos like this are just truly coming from my heart, and they're flowing in ways I don't even know. Sometimes the things that inspire me to begin a video are not what I necessarily end up saying or talking about. So back to the timeline of the day, because that has so much to do with why I'm inspired to do this video. I think I'm actually figuring out why the video looks so dark. I'm using a different, I feel very finicky too. Like my hair has been off all day. It's kind of been driving me crazy, but I'm using a feature within YouTube that's kind of newish. And I think that the camera quality is not as good when you stream through here. This would be my guess. I'm very fascinated by the technology and how to optimize everything. So I hope it's decently looks, the video and the audio is okay. Probably won't use this very often because it doesn't seem to be as high quality. So I woke up early this morning because I co-hosted an event with my good friend Jason Robel, and it was such a great thing for me, bigger than I could have imagined. So some of you may know that I am very, very passionate about coaching, specifically when it comes to business. And I'm really working right now on evolving my brand. So my brand for almost 10 years now has been Eco Vegan Gal. And then I started another brand called Creative Wealth, which has merged into a lot of different things over the years. And that's because a huge passion of mine is helping people make money and doing it in an authentic way, doing it based on their passions and how they can serve the world. So, and through creativity. So the name of my brand, Creative Wealth, came from how a lot of my work has been centered on helping vegan and wellness content creators, so creatives. And wealth is actually a combination between the word wealth as in money and wellness. So it's WELLTH. And I came up with that brand maybe 2 years ago, 2.5, 3, somewhere around there. And it started just with an online course and has evolved into a whole community. And it just keeps growing and growing and growing. And I recognize how deeply I have this passion about helping people understand money. And it's so deep. Like I need to explore this on an even deeper level. Evie's making a bit of a rush. It's too bad you can't see because she's hopping around in the pillows and being very cute right now. So you'll just have to imagine. And because I'm about to celebrate my 10-year anniversary with Eco Vegan Gal, I have really been wanting to transition Eco Vegan Gal into a new umbrella of the Whitney brand, which is my full name, which will encompass everything. And that really excites me, of having like one brand merged together, because there's so much crossover. Some of you may have interest in being content creators, or you may be interested in learning how to monetize your passions and help more people with wellness and veganism and all of that. I get so many questions around that. And I also don't want to let go of Eco Vegan Gal, the brand, but I feel like I've evolved so much over the years that what I started Eco Vegan Gal as has shifted so much. So I feel like just kind of redefining it and putting it under this Whitney brand is really going to serve me. So I'm working on that behind the scenes for the rest of this year. And part of that is doing a bunch of live events. So I have some different styles of live events. I am considering doing a road trip this year to do live events to meet people like you in person. And I really just need to plan it out. I'm very overwhelmed by it, and the timing is very up in the air. So I know that some sort of road trip will happen. I just my big vision is to like stop at literally 70 cities across the country, to hit all the major cities in the US and Canada, and go places I haven't been before and revisit places, spend more time in cities, and really just explore. And part of this will also line up with my car that I'm getting at some point this year, which is the Tesla Model 3, which I have put a lot of energy into manifesting in my life. And I may be ordering it as early as this coming week, which is kind of crazy, but I don't know when I would get it. So there's a lot of things up in the air. And then the road trip, just for those of you who are excited about the idea, I have to figure out logistics, like the timing, the actual dates that I would go, and then how I would finance it all. Because I don't know if I would charge for meetups and put on like really special events for you, or, there's kind of that logistical side of it. I really enjoy doing free things, but I also think there's so much value when you pay for a ticket versus when you go to something free. To me, there's a very different viewpoint of it. And that when people pay for things, it also gives some money to do cooler things, right? And that's a very short explanation for that I could dig further into. And I'm just really just mulling all of this over, or just having it completely sponsored and having some brands backing the whole thing. And it's like a big logistical thing, but I really, really want to do it. I really want to come meet some of you in person for the first time, or see you again, connect with you, and see you in your cities. Like some of you may have met me while I've been in LA or in different parts of the state. Maybe you've traveled out here for something and I've met you there. I'm really excited about going all over the country and doing that as like a celebration of the 10-year anniversary of Eco Vegan Gal, the transition of my brand, and like really like enjoying this new car that I'm so thrilled to get at some point. So anyways, leading back to this event that I did today. So the event that I did today is part of this big passion project that I'm working on with Jason Robel, who you may know as not only a good friend of mine, but someone I used to date. A lot of people ask if we're still dating. We're not we haven't dated in years. We're truly best friends, or he's one of my best friends, I would say. I have a couple. And love Jason very deeply. We're just not romantically involved anymore. And you may also know Jason from his work as an incredible vegan chef and content creator, Instagrammer. He's just amazing. And I love Jason so much. And we have so many things in common and so many things that we want to do similarly. So one thing we've been talking about since the beginning of this year, and it's probably been based on so many previous conversations, is something that I won't fully get into today, because I would like to wait until that project is maybe launched or in a different state. But I'll give you kind of the gist of it, which is we have a mutual desire to build communities around other people who are developing their whole careers around wellness, veganism, etc. They kind of intertwine, right? And there's so many influencers now. Since I started 10 years ago, there's been a big evolution. When I started Eco Vegan Gal, Facebook and Twitter were really just starting to gain momentum. YouTube was a platform that I feel like more people kind of used it as an experiment. I would upload my short films that I made on there. But in 2008, I wasn't really even thinking about YouTube. And then in 2009, I was like, I'll give it a try. Why not? And then the rest is history. So now, like back then, I barely knew anyone. I don't even know if I knew a single person who was doing their blog, their anything full-time, right? Like bloggers were pretty big back then. Podcasting was growing, but like my mindset back then was not like, I'm going to start a podcast. It was like, I'm going to find a podcast to listen to. I'm going to find a YouTube channel to watch. I don't even know if I regularly watched YouTube videos back in 2008, but what I did know I wanted to do was blog. And that was really just going to be a hobby of mine. So over the past 10 years, I have tried out all sorts of things, and the industry has just changed so much because people are now doing this full time like myself. And there are a lot of really amazing people who you may admire from afar and not realize how much they're struggling. But what I learned today through this live event that I did with Jason, which was basically a gathering of some really phenomenal wellness and mainly vegan professionals out there. Like, these are bloggers, podcasters, video creators, speakers, event hosts, authors, just like really incredible people that I know in Southern California. Jason and I really wanted to build a community and bring these people together and find out how we can support them. So we invited I think we had 15 people. There was about, I think, 18 of us total, me, Jason, and then our assistant and friend, Melissa. And so the 18 of us gathered at Jason's house, which felt like so many people. Like 18 people doesn't sound like that many until you get them in a smallish home. And you're like, wow, like we barely have room for all these people and it's crowded. And that's always so interesting too, because like right now as far as I can see, there are 6 people watching live at this exact moment. And 6 people might not seem like a lot, but were we all to be in a room together, there'd be 7 of us. That would feel like a good amount of people. And I feel like being online, it shifts our perception about people and how we interact and what we think of each other, and what we say to each other. And so the online world has just kind of in a way like corrupted us. And it's really like shifting the way we interact. So there's the obvious cases of people bullying each other, online harassment, being mean, being judgmental, getting in arguments, all of these things that can happen online. But the other big thing is that we often don't see the reality of somebody just based on who they are on YouTube, for example, or Instagram, because we show such a small part of our lives. Even though I've been talking for 21 minutes so far in this live video, that's still only 21 minutes out of, how many minutes are there in a day? Like 1,400 or something like that. Is that right? There's a lot of minutes in the day, right? And sure, we might spend a substantial amount of that sleeping, but there's so much about people that we don't see from YouTube, from podcasts, from Instagram, right? And so we start to build these ideas of who people are. And what I'm really fascinated in is finding the ways to be how I can be the most authentic, but helping other people feel more authentic with one another. And it was so amazing today to gather these people in this room and just talk. And Jason and I didn't know what to expect. This was an experiment. We were trying to figure out, do we want to do something like this on a regular basis? What format do we want to do it? And so we gathered everyone in a circle. And these are all people that I really, really respect. We curated the list. We tried to find people that we knew were very committed to their professions. And we have also a very specific type of person in mind, because I know minimum hundreds of people in this world, probably thousands. Actually, I would say over 1,000 easily, maybe several thousands. I know a lot of people because I've been doing this for 10 years, and I live in a city where there are just a lot of people doing similar things. Like LA is like the epicenter for YouTube and podcasting and Instagram and all of that. So we all just kind of meet each other. We know about each other and we cross paths. And so finding like specifically these 15 people to bring in today was really, really interesting. And we lucked out and through our intuition chose some just remarkable people. And what I wanted to share with you was that it is so important for us to have in-person communications. And that's part of the reason why I want to do more live events, especially to meet people like you. I mean, it's great. I get to know some of you through the chat box and through, your comments or your private messages, your emails, but really like connecting with you in person is something that really is exciting to me. And I would love for you to meet one another. So I have my platform, Eco Vegan Pal, which is an online community. And I've been struggling with that, to be honest. I thought that it was going to be easier to build a community online than it has turned out to be. So I've been like really trying to figure out how to make that beneficial for others. But I'm finding that I think more people are craving offline time. More people are craving in-person experiences. Correct me if I'm wrong. Like some of you may have different opinions. Maybe you're too shy to meet someone in person or go to some in-person thing and you much prefer to be online. I want to provide for everybody. I just feel like after the event today, where I gathered, myself included, there were 18 people in this room really sharing from their hearts what was going on. You just see that there's so much more than meets the eye, right? There were actors in the room that some of you may know. There are people that have TV shows or have been on TV shows or are still on TV shows. There are YouTubers and podcasts, all these types of people that maybe some of you know. I'm not going to list out their names for privacy's sake, but to get them in one place and hear how they describe themselves in their lives and their challenges, and then hear how they were supporting other people was truly magical. And I think you may be interested, without me sharing too much detail, is that each of these people struggle. Some of these people have been in their line of work for longer than me. Actually, one of them is a great example. She used to own a bunch of raw vegan restaurants in LA, and I actually worked at one of them. I worked at her cafe in probably, what year was that? I mean, this is like long, probably, I think it was 2005. 2005, so 13 years ago, I think, is when I met her. I think it was her first restaurant. It was this raw vegan cafe. And I didn't even know what raw food was back then. Raw food was like nowhere near what it is today. And I worked there for not very long, maybe like 5 months or something. One really strong memory about working there was that was the first time I heard about Coachella, which is like this famous music festival. If you don't know about it, if you do know about it, it's kind of funny to think like of a time where you didn't know what Coachella was. Like, I very distinctly remember being like, what's Coachella? And having her explain it to me. And in addition to explaining like superfoods to me and detoxes, like it was like, that's where I really learned a ton about raw food. It was awesome. So the owner of that restaurant, I went on to stay in touch with beyond what was just going to be this little side job that I had. We've just been in touch ever since. And now she's in the room, and she's been a raw food chef and expert for almost 20 years, right? And so you think sometimes that somebody that's been doing it for that long has everything figured out. They don't. Even today, I was thinking about how, as I'm about to hit the 10-year mark of starting Eco Vegan Gal, I feel like I'm just now starting to like find my voice. And I may go through this phase again, right? Finding your voice is a challenging thing for many people. And there's so much self-doubt. There's so much fear. There was another person in the room who's doing a live event coming up. And this person is sharing how they're incredibly nervous that they're not going to make their money back. They've invested a lot of money into this event. And like, I'm looking at this person thinking, oh my gosh, you've been doing this work longer than me. I remember when I first got started, seeing this person and thinking they were like on this pedestal, right? And yet this person now, over 10 years into their career and building this great community and having success and just like feels like they have everything together, that person has doubts. That person has fear. That person doesn't have everything figured out. And I bet the same is true of almost anyone. I just think it is like a universal thing. I think where I started to get really excited about making this video tonight is I was watching this really great YouTube series. There's a guy named Shane Dawson who's been on YouTube for also around 10 years, maybe a little under. And he's like one of the YouTubers that's in the millions, and he's not vegan, but I really enjoy following creators like that have been around for a long time, because you get to see all the different decisions they've made in their careers. And I'm really fascinated by all of those things. So he has this brand new series. I think it's a series where he goes and he talks to other well-known YouTubers and helps them work through challenges in their own channels, right? So he was working with this YouTuber. I think she has like around 5 million subscribers, and she years ago was like super well known, and she's through a bunch of different phases where she was getting a ton of views, and then other times that she wasn't, and she was feeling super successful, and other times she wasn't. And she's gone through all these waves. And just watching this interview of Shane and this YouTuber, and noticing how insecure she was and how afraid how afraid she is of judgment, how afraid she is to be herself. Like, this video is super, super fascinating. So go look up Shane's channel. I think it's just called Shane. And if you want to watch this, I think it's called like Exposing YouTubers or something like that. It's got a little bit of a clickbait type title, but it's so good. And he like brings it in multiple episodes. So it's like an hour-long program split up into two like 30-minute videos. And he goes in depth with these people. And I knew who this one YouTuber was her name's Graveyard Girl. And I knew who she was. Like, I remember seeing her like years ago, right? And I never really paid much attention. It wasn't an appeal to me, but watching this interview series with her was so fascinating because, again, she's been on YouTube since, I think she said 2010. So 8 years. She's had massive success. She's had like a 1.5 billion views, 1.5 billion views on her channel. And her persona in her videos is very different than who she really is. And the whole point of Shane's video was to show the real her. And she was admitting how much she was hiding. And because she was afraid that her audience was going to judge her for it. And she felt confused and lost and unsure. And I just thought, like, wow, that is a universal thing. It doesn't matter how put together someone's life is. At least at some point, they have struggled if they're not currently struggling. Like, that is just part of life. Life is about constantly figuring things out. And it's all relative. It's all relative to who we are now and who we were and who we want to be. Most people are just not satisfied. Now, it doesn't have to be that way. I've been studying Buddhism casually for the last few years and trying to get like a greater understanding of it. Let me turn off my text tone. And, I'm very drawn to like the idea of being present and dropping the ego and learning how to not be so focused on the past or the future and let go of fears and focus on love and all of those things. And I feel like if you can get to that place, then maybe the insecurities start to dissipate and your fears dissipate and your self-doubt and all of those things can dissipate. But I don't know if they fully ever go away. In fact, I'm almost positive that they don't. Not to be pessimistic, because I really like to have a anything can happen type of perspective. But, another person I really admire is Gabrielle Bernstein, who's known for a lot of her books. And my friend, who's a huge Gabrielle Bernstein follower, said that recently she's shared how she gets triggered and she has fears and she has doubts and things get to her. And it's just kind of amazing sometimes when you see someone that you admire and think it has everything together, when you realize that person has very similar doubts as you do. And that you're more alike than you realize. You're just in different stages of your life and you've made different decisions. And, the Graveyard Girl with Shane, the interview with Shane was really interesting because I don't remember where she lives, but she had this like literal mansion. And Shane outright asked her, did you buy this with your own money? She said, yes. And through her success from YouTube, she has afforded herself a Porsche and this huge mansion and all of these luxury things. And she's afraid of showing that to people, but she also doesn't really believe that she deserves it. And yet when I'm watching it, I'm like, wow, like I have that thought of, I don't necessarily want a mansion. I mean, I would like a house that allows me to do a variety of different things, but I am very drawn to the minimalism viewpoint, but there's something kind of desirable about a mansion. It's like, oh, I've reached that point. But it's so funny how almost in every case, somebody will get that mansion or that Porsche or whatever, and then realize they're not any more fulfilled or any happier than they probably were like in the small house where I live. So the big, big key that I just keep learning over and over again is we're all very similar. We're all truly equal. Most of us have more in common than not. And a lot of the flashy things aren't going to feel much better than life feels without those things, because it all comes down to our inner state. And I'm really just fascinated by happiness. I'm fascinated by success and fascinated by fear and ego and all of these things that are tied in. And I feel like if each of us can focus on being present and finding ways to love ourselves, that's like the answer to it all. I mean, it really kind of comes down to be so simple. And the question is how do you love yourself? I have been reflecting on that a lot recently because I know that I don't love myself as much as I could. And I am just now starting, or maybe not even just now, but I feel like I'm like starting to like go down the path of really true self-love. Before, my ideas of self-love were so much more surface level, and I didn't really get it. And honestly, I don't know if I do get it yet. I was thinking about this the other day when I was having a tough time. Was that last week? I think that was a week ago. It's hard to keep track. As I said at the beginning of this video, my perception of time is kind of all over the place. It was kind of a neat feeling, right? When life becomes kind of timeless. But wherever it was, there was a day or two where I was feeling a lot of suffering. And I knew that the reason I was suffering was because, or at least deeply rooted in not loving myself enough. And I was just sitting there thinking, how do I love myself more? And sure, the concept, logically, you can say, I love myself. And you can look in the mirror and say, I love myself. I love you. And you can say it over and over and over again. But I don't fully believe it yet. It's like, as I was describing how when I know I want to do a live video, I feel it in my heart. I get this excited, like I get little butterflies, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to go do a video. I'm ready. I have something to say. And my whole body gets energized. That's the kind of feeling I'm looking for when it comes to self-love. And I think we may all benefit for striving for is that deep feeling of love for ourselves. And I guess the other week when I was sitting there wondering, like, how do I really love myself? Like, how do I get to that place? What's that going to feel like? I guess I'm realizing more and more that I haven't gotten there yet. And I feel very drawn to getting there because I feel like that's the ultimate answer. Maybe it's a constant striving, like I said earlier. Maybe it's true of anything in life, is that we always feel like we're not there yet. I think part of the Buddhist mentality is like choosing to feel there and be present, be here, not there, right? Like, okay, I might not feel there yet, but I may never feel like I'm there. So instead, I can choose to be here. And maybe here is where the love really is. And maybe our self-love for ourselves is waning, similar to waxing and waning. I don't know if that's the right term, but similar to the love we feel for other people, right? You know, our parents, our friends, our romantic partners, our animals. Like, there are moments where we feel more in love with them than others. There are moments where we get really frustrated or angry with them. And so the love kind of feels fluid. My question is, which I do not know yet, is that the same? Is that relationship with our hearts and ourselves, is that love fluid like that? Are there just always going to be days where we don't love ourselves or love ourselves less or feel angry with ourselves and frustrated? Is that true of all love, or is self-love a completely different feeling? My guess is that it is. And the more I think about this, the more I'm very, very curious. I like really want to know what that love feels like. And I want to share that with you because I think if all of us are on that journey towards deep, deep love for ourselves, it's kind of the answer to it all. It's the answer, as far as I know, to happiness and fulfillment and being present and healing from all the suffering, you know? I've read so many books on these subject matters, and most of them say the same thing, which is that it all comes down to self-love. It all comes down to self-acceptance. Because that's like the one love that we can truly control the entire experience of, right? Like when we love somebody else or something else, there's an impermanence to it, just because anything in life is impermanent, including ourselves. And we can't control how somebody else or something else feels about us, right? But the only thing that we can, like a full circle love, I think, is for ourselves. And that's really what I'm striving for. And I think as to come back full circle with how I want to evolve Whitney Lortz and the brand is I want to focus more and more on that. Eco Vegan Gal started as wanting to share the message about veganism and eco-friendly living. And I discovered so much about myself and my passions through that process. But the root of veganism for me, the draw to that eco-friendly, like being eco-friendly, being vegan, healthy, understanding my body, all that stuff is like reducing suffering. That is the root. I suffer less once I became vegan. I was suffering less. The planet was suffering less. The animals were suffering less. Once I chose to learn how to be more eco-friendly, the planet's suffering less, the animals, the people, health, right? Health is about suffering less. And self-love is about suffering less. So it all comes down to my deep desire to help reduce suffering. And if the answer to reducing suffering is all based in self-love, then I kind of want to just have that be the core of my work and let a few things stem off of it. So I got a little deeper than I thought I was going to, and I have not read the comments a little bit, so I'm going to check those out. English with Gassan said, "Hi, Whitney. Why don't you use one account?" I may do that. I may switch. I have two. I need to plug in my computer, so don't mind me. I have two YouTube accounts that I've been using really regularly. This one and the main Eco Vegan Gal channel, which is the one that's been around for almost 10 years. That'll be 10 next year. I think it might have been March 2009 when I really launched the channel. It might have been my very first video, though, might have been in 2008. I'm not sure. This channel, I think, started in 2012. So I started this channel because I felt like I just wanted to experiment. And I saw some YouTubers that had secondary channels and more like personal. I was very drawn to that. And so I just wanted to know what would happen if I started just recording like I'm doing now. And I found it very cathartic, and I felt like a deeper connection with people, and it feels great. So there are many times where I enjoy doing this channel more than the other. The other channel was more meant to be educational. This channel is a little bit more inspirational, I would suppose. And it almost felt like two different parts of my personality, because I wanted Eco Vegan Gal, the channel, to be more polished and organized and thought out, versus this channel is like whatever it's going to be. And maybe I will want to merge it all. I also have a dog channel, which is rarely updated. There's like maybe 10 videos on that channel I started that in end of 2009 as well. It's been around for a while. And then the What a Vegan Eats channel, which I started, I think, in 2011. And that was like a vlogging channel of food before that was even a thing. I just like thought, hey, maybe I should just document what I eat all the time. And no, it was very uncommon for people to do that back then. So after a while, I kind of gave up on it, and I would go through spurts. And I still have interest in that channel. I guess like, to me, having one channel for it all may be more convenient for you or for me, but I kind of felt like there were just different parts of my life and my career that I wanted to explore in different ways, and that might appeal to different people. So I'm still trying to figure out what I'll do with that. We'll see. It would probably be easier. I just have to figure out how I want it to flow, and I don't really have the answer yet. And then Carrie asked, would I ever do ASMR videos? And she said, because she finds my voice really soothing. Thank you. I am so grateful for my voice. It's just like, I'm going to be starting a podcast. I've been saying that for a while, but but I'm inching towards starting my podcast. It probably at the latest will be launched this fall, but at the earliest, maybe this summer. And I'll be using this microphone. This microphone's actually really good. So a lot of people use this for ASMR, which they'll do like whispering voices like this, or they will eat food on ASMR, or they'll just make sounds like this. I think the ASMR that Carrie is referring to is more the speaking ASMR. And I feel like ASMR is sometimes really whispering and like I've thought about it, but I have not felt drawn to ASMR as the answer. I did a cool ASMR video years ago with Jason, just for fun. We were just goofing around. It was like in the kitchen, and all it was is like kitchen sounds. And that is like, I'm super fascinated by that. My sister and I both kind of enjoy ASMR, and we share Instagram videos with each other. Our favorite types of ASMR right now are slime ASMR. So like there's accounts on YouTube where people like playing with slime, and it's like just the sound of them playing with slime is so satisfying. Just thinking about it is like lighting up my brain. And then my sister will also share, she's a little bit more into this than I am, but she'll share videos of people like slicing things, and the sound of like a knife slicing through foam, or like something like a hot knife slicing through things. And like, I'm a little bit drawn to that, but I'm not someone that's ever gotten really into like ASMR videos on YouTube. Maybe I would do them though. I would be curious how many of you would be interested in them, and like what type of ASMR. Because I feel like my understanding of ASMR is like whispering or sound, like really average sounds, but being highlighted by a mic like this. So I know the mic that I have is really good for ASMR. So it would be like super easy for me to do ASMR videos. I would just love to hear some feedback from you guys and gals on what type of ASMR you would like. Okay. So Musty Fan says, I'm excited. My voice just completely changed. I'm excited to listen to the podcast when it comes out. Sorry I haven't been able to make it to live streams. Things have been hectic. Well, I hope that is a good type of hectic. And no problem. I'm not attached to whether any of you are here live or not. It's really nice to get to know you and see you. Like, I see your usernames. Everybody that's here right now, I recognize your usernames, and I feel like you're part of my tribe, my community, and we're all in this together. So if you're here, great. Or if you're commenting, I feel like I rarely get comments on like the recordings anymore. Most of the comments I get are live, which is really interesting. I much prefer that. So if you end up watching the recording of something, then I love to hear from you either way. And now like YouTube allows you to see comments, the live comments in real time. So if you watch the recording, I think the live comments still show up on the sidebar if you're watching on your computer. And so you can see what people are saying at different points in the video, which is pretty cool. And English Kassan said, you really know how to use your voice. You know, I think that is a natural gift. I was really drawn to acting. I've always been interested in performing as far back as I can remember. And I thought I wanted to be an actress. So I experimented with that for a few years when I was in high school, and I didn't want to do theater. I always wanted to do video. And that's what led me to study film production, and that's what ultimately led me to YouTube. And then I also got really passionate about public speaking. I really didn't like public speaking when I was in school, except I guess like I don't know, high school, I remember not really enjoying it, but you know what I liked a lot? I always think it's so fascinating to think back to the things that you liked in high school or as far back as you can remember. Like I really loved performing in front of a video camera. because my dad had a video camera almost my entire life. And so anytime the camera was out or I could use the camera, I was like super excited about it. So YouTube just makes sense. I've been on the camera for most of my life, and so it's very natural for me. In terms of my voice, though, I started to recognize the power of my voice when I was teaching at the Apple store. So I used to work at an Apple store. I've actually worked at 3 different stores, but the Apple store as a brand, I worked at for 6.5 years. And my favorite thing to do was to teach. I love technology. I love teaching, and I love helping people understand technology. So I would teach a lot of classes at Apple, and I really got good at teaching, really got good at speaking. And I remember that's when I started to understand the power of my voice, because people would come up to me sometimes and just say, "You have such a good speaking voice." And I wasn't aware of that because no one was saying that to me before. And yeah, I guess probably when I started to recognize that was maybe back like 13 years ago or something. So I'm excited to start a podcast. I really am. It's, to me, just trying to figure out what the format's going to be, but I feel like I'm getting very close to it. And I might just start it and let it figure itself out. And my podcast is probably made pretty unconventional, because it'll probably be a lot like this channel. And yeah, I think I just need to sit down and outline out the formats and how I want all the mechanics of it to work, and a plan for it. I don't think I want to entirely wing it. And I think there's also going to be a video component. I might record all the episodes as videos, so you could either watch the video or listen to it, and it would probably be very, very similar to this style, because like you can see the mic here. I'm using the mic that I would use to podcast, and it might just be like this. So who knows? Maybe I'm overthinking it, but yeah, Dee says, please talk normally. See, this is the thing, is not everybody likes ASMR. So I would definitely have to, or not have to, but I would definitely prefer to split up like ASMR videos and my quote unquote regular videos. What I've learned, though, is there's no pleasing everyone, which is really hard for me because I have a very strong tendency to want to please people. And, you know, even today when I did my event, I got really afraid afterwards that there were people that didn't like it, you know, and there probably were some people that didn't like it, right? But the great majority of people that came today seemed like they really, really enjoyed it and got a lot out of it. And that's what matters. And so coming back to the question about merging all my channels into one channel, maybe I will do that. I think the reason I created so many different channels is because I wanted to appeal to different audiences and talk about different things, and like let people choose what channels they want to subscribe to and videos they want to watch. But it did complicate things, and I probably am missing a bunch of opportunities as a result. So a huge thing for me with evolving my brand is really honing into what's important to me. So ASMR is not a draw to me. I would totally do it, but I'm not like really excited about it at this point. So it's not a priority. I think I could do it maybe on a request type basis. Like, who knows? Maybe I'll do a few videos just to put it out there. But I think it's like tuning into what I really want to do and just trusting that people are either going to choose to enjoy it or not, right? Some people will like the style of videos, and other people are going to prefer something else that I'm just not. And I encourage each of you to find that mentality that comes back to the theme of self-love, understanding ourselves, and finding our own path, because there's something out there for everybody. And that's why if we're really true to ourselves, there's going to be someone out there that loves us beyond, you know, first we start with our self-love, but we will find people. We'll build that community. We'll build those tribes. We will find people that enjoy the same things and are excited about what we're doing, just as we'll find people that don't enjoy it and that want to complain about it or give you thumbs downs or, you know, whatever it is. So more and more, I'm drawn to embracing what I really want to do. I hope that each of you will embrace yourselves, will find ways to deeply love yourselves and go for what you really want. And also, a big message I want to share is not judging yourself based on other people, because part of my point earlier in sharing with you how many amazing people out there that seem to have everything together really don't. They might have flashy things, but that doesn't mean that they're happy. And they might have a lot of followers, but that doesn't mean that they're happy. Like more often than not, I find people that with a lot of followers tend to actually feel very lonely, very scared, really unsure of themselves. That is the common thread. So that's why we got to just love ourselves and follow our hearts and our path, because just all this mentality of trying to compare ourselves to what somebody else is doing or recommending or, how their life is built doesn't really matter if it's not our path, right? And it also doesn't matter if it's not making us happy. So that turned out to be the big message of this video. I would love to know if that resonates with you. I love hearing from you. I'm so grateful. There was a bunch of people here that were alive here the entire time, some of you dipping in and out. And my heart feels so full. I love doing these videos. I am so grateful to have you here as part of the community and to have this opportunity to connect with you in a live way. I'll keep you posted on things as they develop with the podcast and the channels and my brand and everything that I'm working on. You will know very, very soon, because I'll be sharing that, right? You're going to be one of the first to know about it. So usually, as I mentioned earlier, I do these videos on Mondays at 5. I took time off while I was focused on my 30-day-ish challenge on my main channel. So I'll be back to regular videos on this channel. There'll just be some flexibility in terms of the exact timing. For instance, this coming Monday, I am scheduled to be visiting my friend at 5 p.m. on Monday. So probably won't be doing the video unless I don't see my friend. If I'm here, I'll do the video. And that's kind of my rule of thumb. And if I'm not here, then you'll probably see another video from me at another time. And you can subscribe to the channel. You can turn on the notification bell, and that will actually notify you through email or through the app, or depends how you configure your digital life, but you can adjust the notifications there if you would like. And that will give you a notification, let you know when I'm here. And I also want to thank whoever it was that just gave me a thumbs up. Thank you for that little validation. It always means a lot. Sending you lots of love, and I look forward to connecting with you again soon. Now that I'm working with a personal assistant, I'm actually able to, I am finding new ways to communicate and to answer emails, Facebook messages, YouTube comments. So the next thing that we'll be working on together is making sure I'm addressing all the YouTube comments on this channel. We have it down for the other channel, and thanks to her help, I'm really able to connect with you more. So I'm excited about that. Answering comments is something that I've really struggled with for years, and now I have support, and it's really wonderful. So good night to everybody, or whatever time another thumbs up I receive. Thank you for that. And wherever you are in the world, I hope that you're doing really well. I hope you know that you are loved and supported. I hope you are doing what you can to love yourself as much as possible, to not compare to yourself to others, and to really follow a path in life that feels really good to you. That's my greatest wish for you, and I will support you in that journey in whatever way I can. I will see you very soon, and until then, all the very best with whatever your journey is. Bye.